She used to live at the altar. Body laid, hands raised, prostrate, mind stayed. She used to believe her worship would never falter, that the songs would come again, that the melodies would never end, that God's presence would always descend, all the while not noticing that her worship had become a trend. She couldn't see it either. Past the routine, the camera set for the live stream, tears on standby like Visine, center stage spotlights on high beam. The crowd moved from the sanctuary to behind the screen, and so did her worship, even though she was still living at the altar. Lines between perception and reality get blurry. External validation is fading. She needs to find more in a hurry. Quick post, sing a song, write a caption, not too long, but enough so they know that she's still in the worship flow, and the off-screen crowd responds on cue. Looking around, she can't even tell what's true. The altar looks the same, but the vibe is kind of changed. The sanctuary looks different. The chairs are rearranged. Facial expressions hidden, so she's judging the crowd by their gaze and lackluster praise of her. She's amazed as she wonders, where did my worship go? Even though she was still living at the altar. While she was living at the altar, God was looking for her. Looking past her posture, inwardly she was exalted. She gave herself the crown of worship because she could vibe with any key. She could sway with a D minor and let some tears drop with C, prophesy with an F major and a word of wisdom with E, tongues with an A flat and a total fallout with G. Compliments to her worship stripped her of its essence. Intimate moments quickly transform into performance sessions. She's not focused on God, she's more focused on making impressions. Instead of longing for God, she's longing for mortal acceptance. God leans in. In his everlasting mercy and kindness, she hears a whisper in her ear, "How are you feeling, Your Highness?" In a fit of self-righteousness, she rejects the voice of the spirit of pride. God says, stop rejecting it and examine your insides. Separate the truth from the lies, and she starts to realize she thought worship was an experience. The crying and the shout was the evidence. She let her emotions take precedence, forgetting God's presence is her inheritance. But she didn't abide by the guidelines of the will. She kept moving around when God was telling her to be still. She could never detect his presence because she was captivated by the thrill, which wasn't real. With a heavy heart, she finds herself back at the altar, a familiar yet unfamiliar territory for her. This time, without the assistance of any chorus, she lifts up her voice and cries out, "Dethrone me, Lord, and take your rightful place. Rest in the bosom of my praise. Let your holiness clean my face. In your righteousness extend your grace. Use the stone that the builders rejected in me and erect a temple that everyone will see. With the tools Jesus used on earth in his carpentry, build your home on my worship and flow through my artistry. More than anything, I want to be where you are, your dwelling place, the living sacrifice that is holy and acceptable, with a heart that is teachable and correctable. Make every semblance of pride undetectable. Put me through the fire and let me come out as gold. Remove the wineskins of old and fill me with new wine. Be the vine from which my branches grow. Make my heart a fertile ground for you to sow. I want to know you as intimately as winter knows snow. Let my worship rise to you as a sweet-smelling savor. Let me be the aroma of Christ to you. As you receive my prayer, she cries. In the silence, she lies in the very spot where she missed her way. This time, in spirit and in truth, she presents her heart to the altar. And God looks down, and he finally sees a home within her. He places in her voice a sound that pierces darkness like the sun, beaming through a crack in a tunnel, so subtle yet impossible to ignore. An unusual kind of glory released with the power to restore, a kind of glory that has her in worship desiring more, knowing that the crying, the crowds, the shout was never all that God had in store for her. And in her greatest moment of vulnerability is when she discovers her purpose, that God is the greatest and only true reward of her worship.